Hello, sweetheart. I wish I could say this. Christmas began with twinkling lights and cinnamon sweet air, but it didn't. It began with a demand so sharp it sliced right through my chest. You must give me a new car, otherwise, don't come. That's what my daughter said to me, cold as a frost-bitten window pane. Not can you help, not could we talk about it, but you must. And then the worst part? Don't come. Don't come for Christmas. Don't bring your tired hands and your soft stories and your gingerbread cookies. Don't come unless you bring keys to a brand new SUV. And just like that, I was no longer her mother. I was her financing plan. The message came in the form of a text, casual like she was asking about the weather. Hey, Mom, I really need a new car. Our lease is expiring and Todd says we can't afford the upgrade. I was thinking maybe you could gift it to us for Christmas. Otherwise, it's probably better if you just skip coming this year. It'd be too tense. Too tense. Imagine that. Imagine telling your own mother not to come to Christmas because she might arrive without a luxury vehicle wrapped in a red ribbon. I stood in the kitchen reading those words, the smell of apple cider still in the air, my old hands wrapped around a mug that suddenly felt too hot. For a moment, I couldn't move, couldn't think. All I could see was the little girl who once cried in my lap over scraped knees, who once begged me to stay home an extra minute before work just to braid her hair one more time. And now she was telling me not to come at all. I didn't respond right away. I couldn't. I sat down in the quiet and let the truth settle in. My daughter, my only child, was holding Christmas hostage, and the ransom was $48,900 plus tax, leather interior, and heated seats. I could have afforded it. That's the worst part. Not comfortably, but I could have made it happen. I have a little tucked away from my husband's pension, a few careful investments I've managed to keep alive like houseplants in winter. But the question wasn't whether I could pay for it. The question was whether I should. Because somewhere along the way, between ballet classes and college tuition, between emergency dental bills and baby furniture, I'd stopped being a person to her. I'd become a source, a bank account with a birthday card attached. And now, at 69, with silver in my hair and swelling in my knees, I was being told that my presence was conditional. Conditional on whether I brought a car. And what broke my heart most wasn't the demand. It was how easily she made it, how normal it sounded in her voice. That night, I didn't sleep much. I sat at the edge of my bed with the glow of the Christmas lights seeping in from the hallway, and I thought about all the Christmases we used to have. The way she used to tear through wrapping paper with that squeal that only children have. The way she'd always open her gifts and say, "Did you make this, Mama?" Because back then, a hand-knit sweater meant more than anything from a store. When did that change? When did Christmas become a transaction? The next morning, I texted her back. I only wrote 3 words. I won't come. No explanation, no anger, just the truth. If I had to buy my way into her home, then I would stay in mine. Simple as that. The reply came 5 minutes later, longer than I expected. Wow, seriously? Over a car? Over a car. As if I were the one who had made this about money. I didn't write back. I just turned off the phone and opened the curtains. Outside, the yard was dusted with new snow, clean, untouched. And for the first time in a long time, so was my heart. And yet, even in the quiet, even in the knowing I'd done the right thing, there was a part of me that felt like I was back in the hospital room, the day she was born, holding her for the first time, whispering promises into that soft baby hair. I'll never let you feel unloved. I'll always be there. But maybe being there looks different now. Maybe it doesn't mean showing up when I'm told to, with keys in hand. Maybe it means showing up for myself. And as I stood there by the window watching the snow fall, I felt it again. Not guilt, not anger. Something else. Something rising. I didn't decorate the house that year. No garland, no wreath, no smell of pine or cinnamon. Just silence. Just me. For decades, I had fussed and sparkled and baked and wrapped my way through every December, like it was my full-time job. I kept Christmas alive for everyone, especially her. My daughter never had to wonder if there'd be magic. I made sure of it. From the moment she was old enough to toddle down the stairs in her red footy pajamas, I gave her Christmas with both hands. And now I wasn't even welcome unless I delivered it in the form of a down payment. You'd think that realization would feel like a slap, but it was slower, heavier, like the slow bend of a branch under years of snow. I just stood in the middle of my quiet living room, looking at the bin of decorations I hadn't touched, and whispered to no one at all, no more. I called my friend Judith the next day. She was the only one who really knew how things had been between my daughter and me these past few years. She really said that? Judith asked. She really did. There was a long silence, then, do you want company on the 25th? I smiled into the phone. No, I think I want quiet. I think I want to hear what my heart has to say about all this. About time, she said. Just make sure it doesn't say anything nice about a car dealership. I laughed. It felt good, like air moving again after months of stillness. 3 days before Christmas, I got a letter in the mail, handwritten, addressed to Mom. I knew the handwriting before I even opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. It didn't start with, I'm sorry. I noticed that right away. It said, I didn't think you'd actually say no. I just thought you needed a push. Todd said you've always bailed us out before, so you probably would again. And honestly, I was counting on that, but now I guess I have to figure things out without you. I'm not mad. I just didn't expect it. That was it. No warmth, no regret, not even a signature. Just a flat, strange note that felt more like a receipt than a letter. I sat with it for a while. I reread it twice. And then I folded it neatly and slipped it into the fireplace. The flames took it quickly. No drama, no resistance. Just a quiet hiss, and then it was gone. Christmas morning, I woke to stillness, a kind of hush I hadn't known in years. I made coffee and wrapped myself in the wool shawl I'd knitted last winter, deep blue, soft as breath, and sat by the window watching the snow drift down like little white truths. I didn't cry. That surprised me. I thought I would. But my heart wasn't broken. It was clearing. I baked a small loaf of cranberry bread and left it on my elderly neighbor's porch. Her family had moved to Texas and rarely visited. She always said she didn't need anything, but when I placed it by her door and knocked, I saw her face light up through the window before she even reached for it. Later that afternoon, I went for a walk in the snow. No rush. No need to be anywhere but exactly where I was. And I realized halfway through that quiet neighborhood loop that this was the first Christmas I'd spent without my daughter. And yet, I felt more peace than I had in years. That's when it hit me. I hadn't lost a daughter. I had lost an illusion. And illusions are heavy things to carry. They weigh down every moment. They make you doubt yourself, make you question if maybe this time she didn't mean to hurt you, if maybe next time she'll remember who you are, not what you can give. But illusions are like tinsel. They shine in the right light, but they tangle fast and cut deep. And when you finally throw them out, the whole tree breathes easier. I stood in my little living room that night, the one with no decorations and no gifts, and whispered to myself, Merry Christmas, Rose. And for once I meant it, because I had given myself something rare, something precious, the gift of not begging to be loved. I went to bed early, the house still warm from the oven and soft with silence. No carols, no chaos. Just a simple truth, pulsing quiet and steady in my chest. I am enough, even when I bring nothing but myself. The first real crack in the ice came on New Year's Day. I was making tea, the light slanting across my kitchen floor, when the doorbell rang. I expected Judith maybe, or a neighbor. But when I looked through the peephole, it was her, my daughter. Standing on the porch in a wool coat that cost more than my entire grocery budget for the month, holding a paper bag and wearing that look, the one that always came before she asked for something. I opened the door slowly. Hi, Mom, she said. I didn't answer. I just waited. She held out the bag like a peace offering. Leftovers from last night's dinner. I took them, not because I wanted them, but because it felt like the easiest way to end the moment. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other. I didn't think you'd open the door. I said nothing. I just thought maybe we could talk. Still nothing. And then she did the thing that broke me, in a strange, small way. She looked around the room as if taking inventory and said, You didn't decorate this year. That's when I finally spoke. No, I said. I didn't. She blinked. But you always do, since I was little. I nodded. Exactly. That landed. I saw it hit her, saw the words echo somewhere behind her eyes. She stepped inside without asking, walked slowly to the armchair by the window where she used to sit and read Nancy Drew books, and lowered herself into it like she was sitting in memory, not furniture. I don't know what to say, she said. I guess I was hoping if I ignored your silence long enough, you'd just go back to being how you always were. I poured my tea. Always there. Always giving. Always pretending it didn't hurt. She nodded slowly. Yeah, that version. And I said, she's gone. It was a quiet sentence, but it made her flinch like I'd struck her. She folded her arms. Why now, Mom? Why did this year feel different? I took a long sip of tea. I didn't want to rush this answer. You asked me to buy your presents, I said. You told me that unless I bought a car, I wasn't welcome. And somewhere in the mess of those words, I finally realized something. You don't see me as a person anymore. She opened her mouth to interrupt, but I held up a hand. No, let me finish. She nodded. I spent your whole life thinking that love meant sacrifice, that the more I gave, the more you'd feel safe, seen, cherished. But somewhere along the way, that love turned into expectation, entitlement. You started assuming that whatever you wanted, I'd give. Not because you asked with love, but because you assumed I owed it to you. That's not, she started, but her voice broke. It is, I said softly. You know it is. She looked down. Her hands were clenched in her lap. Her voice, when it came, was a whisper. I thought you liked helping. I almost laughed. I did, when it felt like help. But you stopped saying thank you a long time ago. You stopped asking and started expecting. And then this year, well, this year you made it clear. If I wasn't coming with cash in hand, I wasn't welcome at the table. We sat in silence for a long time. The tea grew cold between us. Finally, she whispered, I don't know how to fix it. I looked at her, this grown woman with my chin and my temper and none of my restraint, and said the one thing I knew she didn't want to hear. You don't get to fix it with a casserole and a visit. You don't get to patch over years with a bag of leftovers. She looked up. Then what do? You start over, I said. If you want a relationship with me that isn't built on guilt and gifts, you start small. You call to say hello, not to ask for something. You show up to listen, not to lecture. You treat me like a human being, like your mother, not your wallet. She looked away, her eyes glassy. I miss you, she said. I miss you too, I answered. But I miss the you that knew how to be kind. That landed somewhere deep. She nodded once, stood. I'll try, she said. Don't try, I said quietly. Just choose. Every day. Like I did for you. She looked at me for a long moment, then stepped toward the door. She paused before opening it. I don't know how I got here, she said. I used to be better. I nodded. Then be better again. She left without another word. I stood in the quiet, still holding the bag of leftovers, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel empty. I felt something shifting, like the first real thaw of spring. 2 weeks passed. No calls, no texts, not a peep from her. And I told myself that was fine. I meant it too, for the most part. I didn't want apologies scrawled in panic or promises made just to smooth things over. I wanted the kind of silence that means someone is doing the work. The kind that means someone is finally listening to themselves instead of trying to fix what they broke with flowers and charm. Still, in the quiet moments, I checked my phone more than I'd like to admit. There's a loneliness that comes after a rupture like that, not because you want the old dynamic back, but because the absence it leaves is so large, so hollow, you can feel your own breath echo inside it. Then one evening, after dinner, after the dishes, after my nightly cup of chamomile, the phone rang. It was her. I let it ring twice before I answered. Hi, Mom, she said. Is this a good time? That question, that small, respectful question, my heart softened just a fraction. It is, I said. A beat of silence. Then I talked to Todd. And I told him I don't want another year of you and me doing this dance. Me expecting, you breaking. I told him I said some awful things to you, and that I meant them at the time, but I didn't understand what they cost, not just financially. I waited. I'm not proud of who I've become with you, she said. I think somewhere between becoming a mother and a wife, and someone who's always trying to have it all, I forgot that you already gave me everything. My throat tightened, but I didn't speak. I let her keep going. I was angry this Christmas, she admitted. Not at you, at life, at how hard everything feels. And I needed someone to blame. And you're always safe to blame because you love me no matter what. That's not quite true, I said softly. I know, she said. I'm learning that now. Then she paused. When she spoke again, her voice trembled. Can I come by? Not to talk about anything, not to fix it all in one night. Just to be with you. Maybe bring something I baked. I smiled, a real one. What did you bake? She laughed. Okay, fine, I bought it. It's lemon loaf. I let the silence stretch, just long enough for her to wonder. Then I said, you can come, but you bring the tea. I'll bring the truth. She showed up that night, wearing an oversized coat and no makeup. Her hair pulled back in a lazy knot. No performance. No pretense. Just my girl. The one who used to cry over scraped knees and climb into my bed on stormy nights. The one I used to sing to in the dark when the monsters came. She stood on my porch holding a paper bag like it might save her life. I brought Earl Grey and that lemon loaf, she said. And some of that fake butter you like but always pretend is real. I stepped aside. She came in and looked around. Still no decorations? No. Still mad? No, I said, but I'm still healing. She nodded. That small, solemn nod that means I get it. She sat at the kitchen table like she used to. We brewed tea, cut slices of cake, and for the first time in years, we talked like two women instead of a mother and a daughter locked in a seesaw of resentment. She told me she'd started therapy, that she and Todd had been arguing about money, that some days she felt like she was drowning in expectations, hers, his, society's, mine, and didn't know who she was anymore beneath all that weight. And I told her that I knew the feeling, because I'd once drowned in expectations too. Expectations to be the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the woman who never said no, and that I didn't want that legacy for her. I wanted her to be better than me, braver, bolder, more able to say, this is too much. We talked until the tea ran out and the cake was just crumbs on porcelain. When she left, she kissed my forehead like I was the child and said, next Christmas, can we decorate together, just you and me? I smiled. We'll see. And as the door closed behind her, I realized something. Sometimes the gift isn't in what you give, it's in what you stop giving, so they can finally give something back. It was Easter when she came back, not for another talk, not for forgiveness, but just to sit beside me in the garden. She didn't bring anything. No apology cake, no flowers, no envelope with gift cards tucked inside like an olive branch. She brought herself, and this time, that was enough. She bent to help me weed the corner bed by the fence. My knees cracked when I stood, and she winced in sympathy. We laughed at the same moment, quiet, warm, real. No performance, just presence. For a long while, we worked in silence. Then she said, I told Todd I didn't want a new car this year. I didn't say anything. I told him I wanted less, not more. Less pressure, less pretending, less buying things to feel full. Still, I said nothing. Then she looked up from the dirt and her voice broke just a little. You were right. I forgot how to be kind, especially to you. That's when I put my hand on hers. Soil under our nails, sun on our faces, and years of bruised love between us, finally softening. I'm not perfect, she said. Neither am I replied. But I want to try again, she said. Not because you make me feel guilty, because I miss you when I'm not trying. I let out a slow breath, the kind that feels like surrender, but the good kind. The kind that comes after a long war when the last flag falls and no one's interested in winning anymore. You don't owe me anything, I said. But if you want to know how to love me now, I do. Then show up. Not with gifts, with time, with care, with eyes that see me. She nodded, and I saw her, really saw her, as if for the first time in years. A woman, not a child. A woman still learning, still stumbling, but willing. And that, I thought, is what I'd waited for all this time. Not the car, not the invitation, the willingness. This Christmas, we decorated together. Just the two of us. No fanfare, no grand meals. Just tinsel and old ornaments and the soft glow of forgiveness between us. She asked about the ones she broke as a child. The blue glass bell. The ceramic angel whose wing had to be glued back on. They're in the box, I said. I kept them, cracks and all. She looked at me, eyes shimmering. You always do. That night, after she'd gone home and the house had quieted, I sat by the tree and thought about the kind of love that survives these things. The kind that bends but doesn't snap. The kind that walks away when it must and opens the door again, gently when it's safe. The kind that costs something. Because love, real love, is never cheap. It's not a gift with a receipt. It's not a debt or a down payment. It's a choice. Made daily. Quietly. Sometimes in the dark. I looked around my little house, lights twinkling, the smell of pine in the air, and I smiled. She had come back. Not because I bought her a car, but because I didn't. And that's how I know we're finally starting over.